Hi, Algebra 2. We're going to get right into more about linear equations. This is section 2.4. It is broken up into 3 parts, so make sure we watch all 3 parts. So, standard form of line. If we have ax plus by equals c, we have standard form. We're going to look at a and b and c as integers, and we need to make sure that a is greater than 0, otherwise we just have the by equals c. Slope intercept, just got done talking about slope intercept, so y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. And if we're going to discuss the y-intercept, make sure we say y-intercept equals, or we talk about it as a point, 0, comma, the number. To graph a line in standard form, if we have standard form, probably the best way to do that is we want to use the intercepts. We're going to use x and y intercepts, which, if you look over here, we have x comma 0 and 0 comma y. We have 3x minus 4y equals 12. If we're going to use the x and y intercepts, because this is the standard form, if we input 0 for x, we're going to get negative 4y equals 12. If we divide by negative 4, we get negative 3. If we plug in 0 for y, we're going to end up getting 3x equals 12, so therefore we get x equals 4. So the 2 points, and remember the smallest amount of things we need to graph a line is 2 points, and then we can find the slope and the y-intercept. Well, we can go over to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can put our dot. If we go to 0 down to negative 3, 1, 2, 3, we can put our other dot. We can connect the 2 points with our handy dandy line, and there is our graph. Now for slope, what we can do is we can start at this left point that's at 0, negative 3, and we need to get up to the other point that's on the right. So if we go up 1, 2, 3, and we go over 1, 2, 3, 4, our rise over run is, yes, 3/4. So our slope is 3/4. Number 2, again we have standard form, so if you make a quick XY table, we're going to input, let's just start with the first one. If we input 0 for x, we're going to get 2y equals 10, so therefore our answer is 0 and 5 if we divide by 2. So we can go start at 0, go up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there is actually our y-intercept. If we plug in 0 for y, we're going to get 5x equals 10, and divide by 5, x equals 2. So our other point is 2, comma 0. So we can go over to 2 on the x-axis. We have our 2 points. We can connect the dots. And there we have it. We have our line. Now, how did we get from point A to point B, if we want to call it? So let's start with the leftmost point. Now we have to go down, or we're sliding down the slide. So we know it's going to be a negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 2. So we have down 5, so negative 5 over 2. So we'll call it negative 5 halves. If we know the slope of a line is negative 3, and if we have 2 points on the line, 1 comma 5c plus 9 and 7 comma 2c. Now I know what you're thinking, this is crazy. Well, I'm crazy. So let's try it. We know the equation m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We can just plug and chug. We know m is negative 3. Let's go back to our points. Let's call this x1, y1, x2, y2. So we're going to fill in the plots, points, numbers, values. So we're going to say 2c minus 5c plus 9 over 7 minus 1. Okay. Well, what we need to do is we need to solve for c to figure out and make it a little bit better. So let's use our properties that we know. We're going to say negative 3 equals 2c. Distribute the negative through. We're going to get minus 5c minus 9 over 6. And if you don't like fractions, let's undo the fraction by multiplying by 6. So we can multiply the left side by 6, and we'll get negative 18 equals 2c minus 5c is negative 3c, and we still have the minus 9. So now we have a nice, no fraction, easy to look at. Let's isolate the c by adding 9 to both sides, adding 9 to both sides. Move over here to the right. We're going to get negative 3c equals negative 9, so c equals 3. Let's look at when we actually graph. So graphing a horizontal line versus a vertical line. Okay, if we want to graph a horizontal line through the point 4, 2, let's go on a graph, go over, start at the origin where the little x is, go over 1, 2, 3, 4, go up to 2. We want to get to this blue marker. Okay, but we're going to graph the horizontal line from there. Okay, and then we got to figure out, well, what is the equation of a line? Well, we know all the equations of a line are y equals mx plus b. How many axes does it go through? Well, it only goes through one. Which one does it go through? It goes through y. So we know that our equation is going to be y equals. It has no slope, so no negative, no positive, so we can say it's 0x, and it goes through what y? It goes through at 2. So we can say y equals 0x plus 2. You can also write it as y equals 2. Okay. One of the quicker things to realize is if you know it's a horizontal line and you know it goes through a point, we just look right at our point and we can say y equals 2. So let's flip around and look at the vertical line. If we know the vertical line goes through 4, 2, so we have our same point. We know it's vertical. Okay. Kind of same idea. It goes through the x-axis. It does not go through the y-axis. So we know our answer is x equals. Well, which point do we know it goes through? It goes through 4, 2. What is the x value on 4, 2? It is 4. So our answer to the equation is x equals 4. It's not have to do with undefined because that's the slope. We're just writing the equation. Okay, so two little boxes down here where it says horizontal and vertical lines. What we can do is say, well, we have an equation. If we know it's a horizontal line, we know that our equation is y equals b. In other words, whatever the y-intercept is. So if we take our line, okay, and we'll call this is our b or our y-intercept. Okay. The slope, what's the slope? Well, we know it has no slope, so m equals 0. Y equals 0, then we know it's the x-axis. If we have a vertical line, now we have a vertical line over here. Okay. This is crossing the x-axis, A. So we know that this is x equals A. Okay. Our slope, we should know, is undefined. And if x equals 0, so if we have x equals 0, then we know it is the y-axis. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to graph the lines and give the slope. Okay. If we look, we actually have x equals 3. So we only have one variable. You should know that based on just what we were looking at, if it's one variable and it's an x, it's a vertical line. And it's a vertical line at -3. So we go over 1, 2, 3. Draw a vertical line. Okay. Now we need to give the slope. So there's our vertical line. It goes up and down. You have no left and right. So this is our undefined. So m equals undefined. Okay. With number 2, we have -8y equals 4. We need to solve for the variable, but if you look at it, it only has one variable. It has the y variables. If we divide by -8, you get y equals -1/2. Okay. Or we can say y equals 0x minus 1/2. It has no slope, so at -1/2, we're going to draw our line, negative 1/2, and draw our line. Based on what we had, if we were given the slope and the y-intercept, we could write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form. But we can also write the equation of a line in, new method, what we call point-slope form, where we have a point and we know the slope, and we can use point-slope form to go to 3 different ways. We can go point-slope form, we can go to y equals mx plus b, or slope-intercept, or we can actually go back to standard form. Okay, so point-slope form, here's our equation. Here our equation says that y minus y1 equals the slope m times x minus x1. Now what you want to realize is this x and this y are the part of the equation that make your y equals mx plus b. So the y1, x1 is the one point that you actually have. So notice where x1, y1 is a point on the line, and m is the slope. Okay, and we use this for writing the equation of line in y equals mx plus b, or you can actually go back to standard form. We do want to note that we're going to, over here on the right, we're going to leave answers in point slope form unless otherwise told to go from there. So example 1, if you have a slope of 15/2 passing through 3, negative 6, use your formula above. We're going to write y minus. Now I'm going to do parentheses just so that I input the y, and the y is negative 6 equals my slope, which was given, so 15/2 times x, remember, is part of the equation, but then we go minus and then input 3. Okay, if I simplify this just a little bit, we get y plus 6 equals 15 over 2, x minus 3. So that's point slope form. Okay, but what we want to do is we want to use this point slope form to write the slope intercept and standard form. So from here, okay, we can simplify, or we need to simplify. Now you can do one of two things. Usually it's easier if you don't like fractions. Let's get rid of this 2 on the bottom by multiplying the whole thing by 2. Multiply the whole thing by 2. Okay, what we're going to get is, we're going to get 2y plus 12 equals, now this is now 15, and then we get x minus 3 because the 2's will cancel on the right hand side. Okay, simplify again, we get 2y plus 12 equals 15x minus 45, and then we can solve for x and y. So if we subtract 12 over the other way and subtract the 15x over, we're going to get negative 15x plus 2y equals negative 57. So that's almost in standard form. One thing we are going to say is they are integers, so negative 15, 2, and negative 57. But we're going to make sure that, just to make it a little easier, that we can never, for the a term, which is here, we don't really want to have negatives or fractions or decimals. So if we divide out all of this by negative 1, then standard form will be 15x minus 2y equals 57. And the last part is just to take this equation and solve for y. So if we move 15 over again, 2y equals negative 15x plus 57, divide by negative 2, and it's y equals 15/2. There's our slope again that we started with. Okay, minus 57 over 2. There's our 3. Guess what? It's your turn. Push pause. Do number 2. We want to see all 3 equations. Go. All right, welcome back. If you follow my work, and you'll see at the top, we had to find the slope first. We got negative 2/3. And then really you have 2 different points. So pick a point. I ended up picking first 2, negative 3, but I also did 5, negative 5. And you'll see right here, we end up getting y plus 3 equals negative 2/3 x times x minus 2. Okay, or if you chose this one, then we get y plus 5 equals negative 2/3 times x minus 5. So either point works. That's just point slope form. Okay, both of them, if we multiply by 3, you end up getting and putting x and y on both on the same side. You should get down here at the asterisk 2x plus 3y equals negative 5. And then taking that and solving for y gives you slope-intercept at y equals negative 2/3 x minus 5/3. Congratulations, you did the hard part. But hey, you just need to remember, yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery. Enjoy today because it's a gift. That's why we call it the present. Life is good. Bye for now.